Welcome to I'm Telling You. This is the 7th episode, and I'm going to talk about change today. I'm going to talk about the political debates. I'm going to talk about Ray Dalio. I'm going to talk to you about us as a nation and some of the things I believe that we really need to focus on. Because right now, I believe we're entering the most dangerous time in our nation's history. Worse than World War II and the Great Depression, and much worse than the Vietnam War. And the reason is, back then we were fighting for something, against something outside of us. What we fight right now is each other. And with that fighting each other, we open up the box to a whole host of problems. A whole host of problems that actually led to the World War II to begin with. Because people disenfranchised will choose something or someone who promises something. And right now what we have is we have the MAGAs that are fighting for Trump, believe that he's the next coming of Christ. And on the other side, we have a whole group of people that believe that he's Satan. And I don't believe he's either. I'd like to say he's a patriot and he believes in the American way and he wants to be a good president. I do. But at the end of the day, for the MAGAs, I ask you, after we get 4 or 8 years of his presidency, and nothing's really changed in your life, and the promises he put out there are unfulfilled, and we're actually worse off nationally than we were when he started, what then? What are you going to fight for? What are you going to gravitate towards? And for the people that are fighting Trump, by the way, as you're sitting there fighting for him, hoping that he fails, I got news for you. He's our president. And we're all in the same boat. And that's the thing I think we've forgotten. We're all in the same boat. If he fails, we fail. I want him to succeed. But after he's gone, after 4 or 8 years, what then? What will you fight for? Ray Dalio came on 60 Minutes, and he was talking about some things that I've talked about in my prior interviews. The wealth gap. And basically what he says is that wealth gap is creating a problem with social mobility. And that's the ability to start at the bottom and work your way up. And that's what America was really all about. It's the reason why my people came from Europe. It's the reason most people came here. And he called cutting taxes on the richest crazy and stupid. But he's an optimist. That he's sitting out there, in the middle of the ocean on his yacht, his research vessel, actually, and his little sub. He gives it a 60-40 chance that we're actually going to make the changes that we need to make to capitalism. Because capitalism doesn't need to go, it needs to change. And I agree with him on that. But he says 60-40 chance we do the right thing. I'm really not that positive on it. I'd say it's probably 90-10 against making the right change. And here's the reason. The people that are in power don't want things to change. I'm going to prove it to you. Because we're not talking about campaign finance reform or Citizens United or term limits for our politicians. No. And here's the reason why. To get elected to the Senate, it costs $5.7 billion. Yeah, that's B. And every one of them for 4 years made $372 million. So they spent $5.7 billion to make $372 million. That good math? Is that money well spent? I'll give you another one. The last time we had a presidential cycle, it cost $2.5 billion to run for president. For a 4-year term, that president will make $4 million. What do you think? Good return? No? If you watched the debates last week, you would have said absolutely. Because you couldn't find, if you went out and combed the earth, a group of people more out of touch with what's going on in America than the Democrats I watched in 2 evenings. They talked about health care for immigrants, which is about 11.5 million people. They talked about the border. They talked about Trump. They talked about reparations. And not one of them really talked about what I wanted to hear. What is your vision of America going forward? Don't answer those questions. Reparations is a non-starter. My people got off the boat as Irish. They got a gun, and they went down south, and they kicked the crap out of the South so that the black people could be free. And I agree with that. Who wouldn't? Maybe some idiots down south still don't believe it. But there's no place for racism. But in the same vein, there's no place for people to live off the system either. And everything that I promote, every video you're going to see from me is going to have one fundamental statement. Personal accountability. Own it. Own it. Before I give you reparations, I'm going to give you a hand up. I'm not giving you a handout. We've been doing that way too long. Border? Don't care. I want people to come here. I want this to be such a great nation. People are clamoring to get here. But I don't be giving you health care. I'm not worried about 11.5. I'm worried about the 300 million of us. And 90% of those are sitting around starving, not doing well. Economically, we're doing terribly. But here's a real problem. We're leaving all our power on the table. There's 237 million people that can vote. 108 of us are doing nothing but sitting on our hands. When are you going to get on a team? A team. I don't care. Get on a team. Vote. But we have to do something really, really important. We have to start combining our economic and political power together. Because you're not going to change it inside of that system. If you watch that debate, you're not going to change it. Why? I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it. Ready? Who's better off? The people fighting for your rights? Or people who are having the rights fought for? Yeah, that's right. The people who are fighting for the rights, they're doing pretty good. I don't see them starving. I see millions of dollars in their bank account. I see them driving in limousines. And I see communities deteriorating. And you want to know what it isn't a black thing. It's an American thing. Because whatever's happening to the black community is happening to the Hispanic community and the Asian community and the white community. Because guess what? 90% of us are never going to retire. And 50% of us couldn't afford a $500 hit to our bottom line during the course of a week. That says a lot, doesn't it? In the richest nation in the world, it says a lot. So here's something really interesting and kind of funny, actually. We could stop fighting against each other, right? Which is what they want us to do. Or we could start fighting for something. You can decide, what do you want America to stand for? Do you want the land of opportunity, where we take care of the mentally ill, the oldest of us, the youngest of us? Is that a good thing? I think it probably would be. Are we going to be the nation with the highest education per capita in the world? Are we going to be that shining beacon for the rest of the world to look up to? Or are we going to decline? Like I said earlier, we're in the most dangerous time in our nation's history. We have to decide. as a nation, as grown-up nation now, what are we going to be? We have to become accountable to that. And on the other side, we have to make sure that the nations that are supposedly standing in our corner are accountable to that too. No more free lunch. No more playing both sides. Because it's going to come down economically to two choices. You can either join the American team or you can join the Chinese team. They're going to have to make that choice. As a world, they're going to have to make that choice. Which one do you want? China's team or America's team? I choose America. If they don't, that's fine. That's their choice. I don't think they will. Because at the end of the day, when the world was at its worst, America was at its best. We stood up for them. We helped them. We rebuilt their nations. We educated their people. And we supported them in their darkest hour. We have another one coming. And I'm telling you, if we continue to do what we're doing right now by fighting each other, it will only get darker. Thank you for listening. God bless America.